Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all great. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing absolutely fantastic and that you're having a great day. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and don't forget to follow me on social media. There are links in the description below. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. A lot of interesting news, as we typically have within the cryptocurrency space. If you've missed the last couple of videos, there is an air, if you will, of excitement surrounding the cryptocurrency market once again, simply because of the amount of attention that's being paid to our market. Whether prices go up or prices go down, especially when prices go down, there tends to be a lot of panic within the cryptocurrency market that something must be wrong. And at the same exact time, institutions never left. They continue to stay here and buy up large amounts of crypto. This was very popular news, as there has been speculation about this for about a couple of years now at this point. GameStop, the place you go to get games to stop, has unveiled its ambitious Bitcoin investment initiative. They're calling it Project Rocket. Why not? Why not? Years ago, there were rumors that GameStop would be getting into Bitcoin. This was in 2020, when the entire GameStop stock fiasco shorting thing was going on. And then that transformed into around 2022, where we heard that behind the scenes, someone was planning on doing this, or that they would be doing this, or that they had discussions with Michael Saylor. That transformed into after the Bitcoin ETFs were launched. Apparently, there was going to be a discussion about it at GameStop, and then I think 2 months ago, I want to say 2 months ago, there was a thing, if you missed it, I think the board of directors, I believe it was, at GameStop came to a unanimous decision to actually invest in Bitcoin. And now they're calling it Project Rocket. Why not? As reported by Bitcoin Magazine on the 6th of April, this strategic move follows the successful completion of a $1.3 billion US convertible bond issuance finalized on the 2nd of April. It is anticipated that GameStop may be on the verge of acquiring Bitcoin as a part of its digital asset diversification strategy. In a formal filing disclosed after the U.S. stock market closed on Monday, it was revealed that underwriters, exercise their $200 million over-allotment option in full, accumulating in a remarkable total of $1.5 billion raised during the issuance. Following the deduction of expenses, the net proceeds for GameStop still stands at $1.48 billion US. The speculation is that they're going to be using some of that money to actually buy up Bitcoin. How much Bitcoin? No one has any idea. We've seen before a lot of other companies will raise money similar to MicroStrategy, but they tend to use around a third of it to acquire crypto, another third to pay off debts, and the other third to do something within the restructuring of the actual company. It's very interesting to actually see GameStop still be a thing, as people just thought, if you weren't here in 2018, all the closures and stuff like that, people were like, GameStop is completely done for. I think they would still benefit from having some kind of a Netflix kind of thing going on, where you can literally rent movies or rent video games through the GameStop website, but I don't work there, so good luck to them. Yeah, very popular news, as one might have expected. I think the next step after them buying it would logically be announcing that they accept crypto as a form of payment in their stores. It's what other companies have done before to actually acquire more crypto. If you basically like acquire it in that way and the price goes up, well, you know, you got you some free crypto. So cool. Let's see exactly where this goes, how much they end up buying. People love GameStop and they love the whole saga that they've been going through. The amount of crypto on exchanges continues to decrease. This is a conversation we will probably have until there's no more actually left on crypto exchanges, but this will obviously have some sort of an effect on the market. That's the GameStop is going to be buying a lot of Bitcoin. I was going to say over $1 million, and I was like, yeah, logically, it's probably over $1 million. Okie dokie. Let's move on. And probably one of the most confusing news stories that I think we've ever had, and this isn't remotely a joke. When I go through it, a lot of you will also be scratching your heads, and then even when I show you the other thing, you're still going to be just as confused, and I'm not really sure how this became popular news at all. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong is advocating for U.S. regulations to permit consumers to earn interest on stablecoins. Don't worry, it gets weirder. Armstrong argued in a Twitter post that allowing stablecoin interest would benefit consumers, expand financial access globally, and strengthen the U.S. economy. Don't worry, I'll get back to it. He explained that stablecoins are typically backed one-to-one by the dollar and held in low-risk assets such as treasuries. The interest from these reserves is usually retained by issuers rather than passed on to the consumers. Also, that doesn't make sense either, and I'm really confused as to what all of this is happening. He argued that on-chain interest could function like an interest-bearing checking account, giving users direct access to yields comparable to the Federal Reserve's benchmark rate. Don't worry, it gets more confusing. He said U.S. consumers win. They will benefit the most from on-chain interest because they're getting hurt the most without it. Okay, you're just a very dramatic person. According to Armstrong, U.S. consumers currently earn minimal interest on savings accounts, despite high market rates, leading to a real loss in purchasing power. My brain is just really confused at this. For those of you, maybe I'm missing something. If I'm missing something, please tell me, because the way that this is worded is maybe I'm being confuzzled. Brian Armstrong is saying that people need to be able to get interest from their stable coins. For those of you who missed it, and this part will sound confusing, for those of you who missed it, a number of countries and also states within the United States have announced that they're going to have some kind of a crypto and or Bitcoin and or crypto reserve. We get the Bitcoin one, got it. For a lot of the crypto reserve states within the United States, they have also mentioned that they want to have an allocation into stablecoins. Why do they want an allocation into stablecoins? Because stablecoins give you interest. They give you they give you money back for actually holding on to them. And the interest rate of a lot of these is so much higher than anything you would ever possibly get from a bank. So upon hearing this and saying that the U.S. should allow people to gain interest on their stable coins, I don't understand, because it takes 2.5 seconds to Google it. I typed in stable coin interest rates and I found the website called Coin. Oh, it's literally called Coin Interest Rate. How funny. For those of you not looking at the screen, they're showing different platforms. So you got CoinHold and BetFury, okay, whatever that might be, and BitGet and Binance and Bitmart. And it's showing like how much you get in interest from these platforms. For those of you not looking, it's 14%, 13%, 12%, 12.6%, 12%, 12%, 11%, 11%, 10%. And if you scroll down to Coinbase, I think there's somewhere here. Coinbase gives you 4.1%, while nearly everyone else gives you 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13% interest on your coins. So I don't know if the news is that Coinbase wants to give a higher interest rate, but that's not it. They're saying that people should be allowed to gain interest from their stable coins in general. Well, the issue is that they already do, and they have been doing this for quite some time. It's on if you go to any crypto exchange, they all let you know, like as you're signing up or you're anywhere on there, hey, got any stable coins? We'll give you free money for basically holding them. And that's why, for those of you, once again, were wondering why states would want to hold stable coins. It's because of that. A lot of the stable coins give really high interest rates for simply holding them. So the states are like, if part of the crypto portfolio has to be like relatively stable in some capacity, minus fluctuations, guess what handles that? The stable coins. And then the stable coins will also give you back an 8% return simply for holding them. So a lot of times we get news and I really try hard to understand it. But no, the stable coins already benefit people who have them and hold them. That's literally one of like the baked in things to them. A lot of cryptocurrency platforms do already give like nearly the entirety of the interest earned on the coins. You know who doesn't? Coinbase. Yeah, Coinbase has very high, exceptionally high fees within the industry. So I'm not really, I don't get it at all. Like I honestly completely don't understand. So yeah, maybe no. Okay. Well, yeah, stable coins already give you a pretty good return, oddly enough, if you're deciding to hold onto a stable coin, but I thought maybe they were trying to do something where they were trying to, incentivize people to hold their stable coin. The Circle coin is made by Coinbase, who created Circle to also create the coin. But I don't know, maybe I'm just maybe it's me. That's the Coinbase news. Okay, now let's move on. Also, everyone's constantly obsessed with this, and I don't really understand why. Ripple has minted an additional 28 million Ripple US dollar RLUSD stablecoin coins over the past 24 hours. According to CoinMarketCap, the total market cap of the token currently stands at 169 million US dollars following the most recent update. The supply of the token has more than doubled in less than 2 months. Yeah, that's usually how it happens. A lot of people were reporting really weird things on Twitter when Ripple announced they were going to be creating their own stablecoin. People were saying that overnight, Ripple, the company, was going to mint hundreds of billions of dollars worth of this coin, and that's not how it works. It tends to be rather slow, especially when dealing with stable coins now, as a lot of them usually purchase US Treasury bills. And then based off of the amount of Treasury bills, the equal equivalent amount, they then will mint additional coins. This is one of the very few ways that the United States and regulators have actually been comfortable with companies creating stable coins, because the Treasury bills are attached to the US and it strengthens the US economy, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So yeah, they're going to continuously mint them. We had news like this around 2 weeks ago as well. It's just how it happens. They mint several million. There's interest. They have other investors who come in. They mint them slowly. I think there was a news story, I don't know, that they're going to start, like they're in discussions now with, with crypto exchanges, major crypto exchanges, to start putting the RLUSD on there as well for trading. It takes time. Nothing happens overnight. Just be happy that Ripple has literally done everything that they said they were going to do. At some point, this coin's market cap is going to be 7 billion. It's going to be on every major crypto exchange, and I will asterisk that with every crypto exchange except for maybe not Coinbase. Coinbase has a really bit of a thing right now where Tether is the market leader. And if you've forgotten, Coinbase delisted a number of, if not all of, the other stablecoins from their platform a while ago because they're trying to incentivize people to just use their stablecoin and not have anyone else get any bit of market share. But cool. Guess what, guys? They'll definitely be minting more of them. Yeah, weird, right? How dare they do what they said they were going to do? Okie dokie. Let's move on. This news was annoying to me, and then I got it, and then I had a question mark, and then I was like, okay, I get it. It's not the best, but it could be 9 million% worse. Like, that's a real number right now. You'll get it, and it's also quite good. Something called Bill S0451, which was introduced to the Rhode Island Senate last month, permits the state's residents and businesses to make up to 10 payments in Bitcoin valued at less than $1,000 per month, or sell the equivalent amount without being subject to capital gains taxes. Let me explain, because the wording is very odd. It doesn't make sense, and then it makes sense, and then you go, okay, I see where they're going with it. Over the years, this was a major discussion in 2016, 2017, when people believed back then that Bitcoin was poised for such a massive level of adoption that people would begin to use their Bitcoin in everyday purchases. Other countries smoothed this out a long time ago, and they basically said, if you're going to use your Bitcoin or crypto for certain transactions, there's no tax on it until you decide to swap it back into fiat, i.e., if you're in Japan and you're spending your Bitcoin for stuff, whatever, blah, 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 until you swap it back into the local currency, that's when you actually get taxed. Unless something has changed without me noticing it, within the United States, if you try to use your Bitcoin, it creates a taxable event. No matter what you do, no matter where it's going, no matter what the position is, if you do something with your Bitcoin, it creates a taxable event. So most people have kind of gotten used to the idea of just buying and holding. You can't really use it because nobody wants to be taxed for it. That's kind of the general idea. So this bill would basically allow people within Rhode Island, as far as I can tell, over the course of 10 different transactions. And I tried to imagine that they chose 10 because it was maybe to appease someone. The numbers should be 1,000. There should be no limit on how many transactions you do. But alas, here we are. Over the course of 10 transactions that each cost $1,000 or less, there is then no tax. So instead of the original, if you bought a cup of coffee, if you bought, heaven forbid, a car or something, that would create a taxable event, which also makes no sense because it's not being swapped back into US dollars. You're simply using it. It's kind of like, imagine you go to buy something with dollars and the sales tax that's already on it. They go, well, you're using the US dollar. So like it creates another taxable event. It's literal nonsense. Rhode Island is saying, for 10 transactions, the 10 makes no sense because then you have to be like, okay, only 10 transactions or 10 times of you selling it. So essentially every month, as far as I can tell, you would get $10,000 of being able to buy stuff with Bitcoin and $10,000 being able to sell Bitcoin without any capital gains taxes. Like I said, it's going to start out ridiculous, and then you'll understand it'll be okay, but you'll still go, why the number 10? Why $1,000? Why not $10,000? If the issue is with the FDIC and depositing money into a bank account at $10,000, why not $10,000 for Bitcoin? It's a step in the right direction. And every other state needs to have something like this, but also just wipe away the idea in general. I think it lightly makes sense if when you're swapping back into dollars, there's a tax, but that tax should also be super low. That's my relative opinion. And also, like, why just 10 payments? Why have someone have to write down exactly how many times they bought or didn't? But okay. The bill is an amendment to existing state income tax laws. And the exact language in the proposed legislation is as follows, and I quote, "Any sale of Bitcoin by an individual or business in Rhode Island shall be exempt from state taxation if the total value of sales is less than $1,000 per day." They use diem, but it's carpe diem, seize the day. Diem, for those of you who don't know, means day. The limit of the state tax-exempt Bitcoin transactions shall not exceed 10 sales per 30-day cycle, end quote. Essentially meaning over the course of 30 days, you get 10 times where you can sell $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, equaling $10,000 per month. Even the 30-day cycle, it's all nonsensical. Essentially meaning you understand. Cool. And I lightly tip my hat in the direction of the person who made this bill, but it's also like, what the, like, why the runaround? Why 1,000 per day over 10 sales over 30-day cycle? It's like, what about February? There's 28 days. Does that then carry over into? It's just all this kind of cool. So. Yeah, that was one of the things a long time ago, is that people were trying to actually use their Bitcoin and their crypto. And then actually found out from the tax man, they were like, hey, yeah, you're in trubs because you're not supposed to be using it. So people just kind of have this idea of like, okay, cool, digital gold, and not actually using it. But hopefully this changes because it sounds nonsensical. But alas, here we are. So cool. That's the Rhode Island news. And yeah, let's move on. Also whoa, that's crazy. MetaPlanet has announced the issuance of a 2 billion yen zero interest bond. It comes out to $13 million to Evo Fund, to fund the purchase of additional Bitcoin. Yeah, the move is in part of the company's ongoing strategy to expand their Bitcoin holdings. MetaPlanet is back again in the news. They're a company in Tokyo, I want to say, who became popular because they announced that they had bought 14 Bitcoin. They mildly do exactly what MicroStrategy does. They issue debt against the company and then basically use the money that they raised from the debt to buy more Bitcoin. They're trying to get, by the end of this year, 10,000 Bitcoin, and by next year they want 21,000 Bitcoin for their treasury. We hear about them every 2 to 3 days at this point. They always, you think it's a joke, they always make it into like popular news. They are always, every morning you wake up and there's like 15 different articles about them purchasing $13 million worth of Bitcoin. It's not even half a joke. That's why I always say it's so interesting. If you missed 10 days ago now, there was a thing with Tether. Tether announced that they just purchased, it was like, I think $1.3 billion. It was something nonsensical of Bitcoin. It was a huge amount of Bitcoin. Tether now has over 100,000 Bitcoin. And I found it on 2 articles. Like no one was talking about it. And then lo and behold, MetaPlanet buys $13 million and they are everywhere. So cool. Institutions and companies continue to buy up large amounts of Bitcoin all the time. Don't take my tone as anything negative. 13 million of anything is a huge amount, especially for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin was at $1 million, and they bought 13 million. They still bought 13 Bitcoin, which is a huge amount of Bitcoin. So cool. We'll see exactly how much they have by summertime. They're trying to get to 10,000. It'll be very interesting to see, if GameStop also tries to, and I mean, they won't really be able to. I was going to say if they tried to rival MicroStrategy in any way, they're probably not going to, because MicroStrategy is well on their way to having, I mean, if we can be realistic, I think MicroStrategy is going to have 700,000 Bitcoin by the time we get to the end of June. April, May, June. Yeah, that sounds correct. That sounds, yeah, 700,000. If they're below that, I'd actually be completely flabbergasted. So I was going to say it'd be interesting if GameStop tries to do the exact same thing. I don't know, but I expect they'll have 10,000, 15,000 Bitcoin before anyone actually is able to realize what's going on. Yeah, as I always say, the amount of Bitcoin and crypto on exchanges continues to dwindle. I think it's very weird that people think that that's a joke, or that it's not happening, or that it's going to take, years and years and years. No, my friend, it's going to happen before you even realize that it's taking place. And that's just the way that markets work. I think that's going to do it for this video. Hope everyone's been good. Hope everyone's been doing well. Hope everyone's been taking care of themselves and doing what they need to do. I know, as always, our market is fascinating, is the word of the century, but I still think that we're in for some really interesting times ahead for the cryptocurrency market. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I don't get it. Look at the numbers. Like, what was he talking about? These are the literal interest rates for the stablecoins. I can't begin to imagine what this man was talking about. Now answer me this. Are people within the United States not able to get interest on their coins? That's definitely not a thing, right? I feel like that would have made major news and we would have had far more companies fighting against it, because it's not just Canada. It's not just Mexico. And like, everyone else has access to this, right? I'm not going crazy. Well, thank you all once again. That was a real question. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.